Oh, she's so dramatic. Isn't she so dramatic? So, welcome everyone to the hidden gifts of not normal. Um, yeah, my name is Cara Wright. For those of you that don't know me, I know there are those of you that do know me. Those of you that do know me know that I'm an odd bird. I have been getting odder by the moment. And how does it get better than that? And what more? Like, I personally am always in the question of what am I actually not choosing that if I don't choose it won't show up here, which is kind of one of it's in the chat above. Are they on, the Russians? Is that the part? Somebody asked about the Russian chat. No, I think it's being, so if you log into the Russian, in the chat Zoom, there's a
I
login
don't see it in there though.
in the
So
Zoom.
maybe like if you just came on late, I wonder if it's still in there because like I don't see.
Let me just,
No, you don't see if you come later.
Yeah, so maybe you guys, there we go. There it is.
thanks for saying that. Here we go.
Yeah.
There we go.
Just
Okay.
restart.
Yes. Well, there's no anything. How many of you have been trying to think you can redo things and you can't? It might be one of those not normal things you do. You're welcome. Thank you. I'm so proud of myself that I saw that in the chat. That's a personal best for me. So I'm just gonna mute you. There you go. So the hidden gifts of not normal. What is that, right? So as I was saying, one of the things that I have always challenged myself is to be willing to be present with how actually weird I am. And this particular topic was inspired, I think it was like a year and a half ago. I actually had a similar call a year and a half ago. It was identical, completely different energy than now, which is very exciting to me. And I'm going to go into that a little bit about like the timing of this particular topic and like where you all might be and what you all might be aware of that you haven't actually identified that's what you're aware of. But where this topic came from is that even after all the classes that I've taken in Access Consciousness, and for those of you that don't know me, I am an Access Consciousness certified facilitator. I have been one for 8 years, which is bizarre. I also teach the specialty or facilitate the specialty of X-Men. And I've been doing that for probably 3 or 4 years now. And so mostly what I facilitate is weird and where you've made yourself wrong for being weird and really looking at like, where could you be strong? Like, what could you be choosing different or be just have a different perspective of that? If you had that different perspective, it would completely change the trajectory of what you could create in your life. And I know that sounds really like, seriously, like can that be true? I'm here to tell you that I am a very different person now than I even was a year ago and even before that. But I had a private session with Gary Douglas, founder of Access. And it was one of those things where leading up to the session, I was like, I don't even know what I'm going to ask him. I had been doing Access for a really long time. It was like not even 2 years ago, maybe 2.5 years ago. And I literally was like, it was like, it was like the energy of, and maybe some of you will relate to this, but it was the energy of like, what would I like to choose for my life? Like, what is big enough for me? And what questions can I ask to actually allow, I have Gary Douglas on the phone. What do I ask him? And I was literally just blank. I couldn't come up with any sort of thing, which, by the way, one of the things that you may or may not be not normal around is that, do you actually have problems? Like so many of us that are weird, like you may or may not be on this call, we don't actually have problems. We manufacture problems so that we can be like everyone else around us. So then when you actually really truly look at your life and you're looking at like me in this scenario where I was asked, okay, I have Gary and I can ask him anything I want to ask him. And like nothing was coming. I was like, wow. First of all, where have I not been willing to acknowledge I don't actually have problems? And one of the things that is possibly a hidden gift of being not normal is that you don't actually have the problems that everyone around you has. You've just been pretending you do. Like, is that at all like relate to you in any way? So I get on the call with Gary and he's like, well, like, hey, like, what can I help you with? And I was like, oh my God, I'm going to waste this whole 30 minutes because I don't have anything. And he started going in, and I personally don't really remember what I said. I probably like eked out a few words. And he started going into like, what is it going to take for you to really truly get how not normal you actually are? And I proposed that question to all of you. What is it going to take for you guys all to start to really truly get how not normal you are? Like that literally there is no one on the planet that is like you. You are a completely unique individual to yourself. Now, what comes along with that individuality that we all have is that many of us have capacities to fit in totally and utterly. Like we're really good at fitting in. We're really good at walking into a room and knowing what each and every person in that room needs from us, desires from us, how they all want us to be. We can be aware of that long before we walk into the room, choose it in a heartbeat, and be different for every single person in that room. Is this sounding familiar to you at all? Like most people who have this not normal ability can tell you millions of stories how they have all different kinds of friends, right? You can fit into all different kinds of groups that you can, no matter what you're choosing or where you are or anything like that, you automatically are just the energy that works there. So first of all, if that does apply to you, like what part of that is normal? The other thing that a lot of us that are massively weird like this do is we assume if I can be that or do that, everyone else is being and doing that. Except, is that actually true? So we walk into a room, we can be whatever we needs to be in that room. Or, you get added to a project or you get a new job or, whatever circumstance that is. We can completely morph into whatever's required. On top of that, we assume everybody else in the room is morphing as well, without actually acknowledging that that's something that you uniquely, in a very not normal way, can be and do. And why do I bring all of this up? One of the things, because Gary again has now started to really talk about this idea of not normal. And I think one of the reasons why he started to talk so much more about it right now is that there is an energy available now that's very, very different. And some of you may have been perceiving it in your world, like where the ability for you to choose you as the not normal creature that you are is way more like it's an easier choice. It, like for me, and I think for a lot of people, it's like you actually have the choice to choose it now. Whereas before, it always felt like a real struggle. It always felt like a real, like, I don't know what that is. Or if I was choosing for me, what would that be? There is this sense of space and possibility that is available right now where you can have the energy of what you are as the not normal being you are and what you could create as your not normal future. You can have that and choose it without cognitively going, this is what it is. So for those of you that, I think most of you know Access, I'm going to use the clearing statement. So everything that doesn't allow you to be, know, perceive, and receive what you can now as your not normal self that you couldn't before, will you uncreate and destroy all of that? Good, bad, right, wrong, all 9 pod, poc, shorts, boys, and beyonds. And if you're new to Access or you're listening to this in the future, you can go to a website called theclearingstatement.com and get information about the clearing statement. Basically, what it does is it brings up whatever the energy is that a question or a concept brings up for you. Running the clearing statement, which is just saying it, like I just did, will basically delete or diffuse all of that energy so that you actually can start to perceive what's going on for you from a different perspective. Thank you, Ashley, for putting that in there. So not normal. So like when you start to actually have the space of going, okay, how not normal am I that I haven't actually been acknowledging? You actually can start to like use it, because one of the things that Gary's been talking about is it's not about identifying yourself as not normal or not fitting in order to separate, like in order to make them wrong or make you wrong based on that. It's more about going, okay, I am like acknowledging how not normal you are, and then looking at it and going, okay, cool, like how do I take advantage of that? Because one of the things that we weirdos tend to do is refuse what is different about us that we could actually be choosing and taking advantage of. Like, how many of you, one of the not normal things about you is that you really are aware of other people's heads? Like, can literally, some of us can literally hear other people's voices in their heads. Like, sometimes when I'm talking to people on Skype, I can hear their voice or I can hear their laugh, or like, so we are very, very aware of other people's, we all know thoughts, feelings, and emotions. We pick all those things up, but some of us are actually even more not normal with that. And we can literally hear the voices. We can literally hear the tones in people's voice when they're speaking. And they don't even have to be speaking. They could be talking in their own heads. So my question is, like, if you were willing to go like, okay, this might be an area where I'm really not normal, like even more different than my weirdo different friends. Because that's the other thing we all do, right? We like go, okay, I'm not normal. Let me find a group of not normal people so I can be normal in those not normal, with those not normal people. What if I told you no matter what group you find, including people in Access, you will still not be normal to any of them? Like, what if normalizing yourself to anything from here forward is a choice, is a freaking capacity? The fact that you can do that is a capacity. And it's, if you're willing to stay aware of it, that you're choosing it, what can you use to your advantage? How can you use it to your advantage? So if you walk into a room and you know what people require and desire of you, who has the power? You or them? You do. How often do you actually take that as a power? Or do you walk in and go, oh my God, I know this person wants this, and then I'm going to react and I'm going to resist and I'm going to align and agree and I'm going to do a bunch of weird shit instead of just going, oh, okay, got that. What would I like to choose based on that? Like, how would I like to take advantage of that? So everywhere you are, have all not been willing to take advantage of your not normal. So you won't even look at it. Will you uncreate and destroy it all? Good, bad, right, wrong, all 9 pod, poc, shorts, boys, and beyond. So as I was saying, like maybe your not normal thing is that you actually dynamically hear people's thoughts, hear their voices, like you have that. Now, if you can receive that, can you actually like send that out as well? Yes, right? Like you both sides of the coin should be available to you. So you can either be at the effect of having people thoughts in your head all the time and hearing people's voices in your head all the time, or you can be like, okay, cool, how can I use this to my advantage? Could you put thoughts into their heads? Could you play with having tone and like actually putting things in people's heads so that they choose what works for you? And if you are willing to do that, if you're willing to take advantage of that, what would that create for your future and for other people's futures? So, what things are available to you that you have never considered? This is definitely a question that I would start to ask, so that you start to get into like a sense of like, okay, if I was going to really look at where am I really truly not normal? What is that for me? Like, as you start to identify those things that are different and unique to you only, the next question is like, okay, cool. How can I take advantage of this? What advantage can I be with this that will create the future that I know is possible? It's one of the other areas that a lot of people who have these unique, energetic talents, abilities, capacities that make them very not normal is they can be aware of not only future possibilities, like farther out in the future than most people, but also more possibilities. Like most of us have a perspective of 10, 15, 20, 30, 100 times what the average person's perspective is. Not only into the future, but also like of what's possible. So, is that something that actually applies to you? Have you always been far more aware of what's possible than the people around you? And again, if you're far more aware of the future and more possibilities than other people around you, does that put you at an advantage or at a disadvantage? And where have you not been willing to use that to your advantage? So everything that is, Leo and Crane straight all. Good, bad, right, wrong, all nine, pod, poc, shorts, boys and men. So when you look at like questioning into existence and possibility, more of what you're capable of, and being in the question of like, okay, how can I use this to my advantage? What does that bring up for you? Is it weird? Have you been taught that it's wrong? Have you been taught you can't do that? So one of the things that if you like to really, because I know when I had that conversation with Gary, like, first of all, I thought that, yeah, right, you can't have it all. I thought that I had been considering myself not normal. And what I realized that I was literally looking at about 10% of the not normal that I could be choosing. So like what percent of the not normal have you been willing to already look at for you? And acknowledge that, because even if it's 2%, that's more than most people are willing to do. And so acknowledge that. And then like, how much more can you begin to acknowledge? Like, how can you make that percent start to expand? Like massively. One of the things for me was actually looking at like, okay, like where had I decided that I was already like, I had already identified where I wasn't normal, and that was all that I was willing to have. And then when I looked at it, I was looking at about 10%. So, because literally almost the whole conversation Gary had with me, what consisted of like, what part of your friggin' absolutely 1,000,000% not normal are you not getting? And then I would try to give him like my conclusions and all my, decisions and all the things like, yeah, but I do know I'm different here and I do know I'm different there. So everywhere you're doing the yeah buts, like I have acknowledged I'm different in this one area. And so you're completely like, I'm done now. I'm done acknowledging how not normal I am. I don't need to do more than 3%. That's enough. So everywhere you've decided the not normal you've been willing to be up till now is enough. Will you uncreate and destroy it all? Yay. Good, bad, right, wrong, all 9, pod, poc, shorts, boys and beyonds. Like my secret target, it's not really secret, but my secret target is that people who have talents, abilities, capacities, energetic awareness, the ability to create things here beyond what has already been here, like that those people actually show up, and not just show up, but actually start fucking creating. I'm ready for this place to be very different. I don't know about you guys. And that is one of the things that I think there is something different available in the world. And maybe it's a demand that a lot of us have. And I think a lot of us are here at this unique moment in time because we know now is the time. Now is the time to actually go, okay. Like, if you don't start to choose what is so not normal about you and actually not just choose it, but look at like what you can uniquely create based on it, what you can put out in the world and invite other people to, what advantages you can take. Because sometimes when you go, okay, like, how can I use this to my advantage? You may think that you're putting other people at a disadvantage by using things to your advantage. But what if you then become the leader to a greater possibility, and that has you going, and that's actually going to put those people in question? And then they might start to ask, okay, wait a second. How come that person gets to go do that kind of stuff? Like, what? I'm not choosing that for what fucking reason? One of the things that I've heard Gary and Jane say so many times is the only person that can stop you is you. So what if, like, for those of us that are really weird, really different, really not normal, that energy of we are the only ones that can stop ourselves is like 100 million times more potent. Because again, if you don't start to be curious about how you're not normal, start to develop the areas where you know you're fucking weird, start to ask how you can take advantage of these areas, they simply won't exist. You'll basically make yourself an extinct species before you even start. So everywhere you're all making yourself an extinct species before you even begin, would you be willing to uncreate and destroy it all? Good, bad, right, wrong, all 9, pod, poc, shorts, boys, and beyonds. So do you actually value the species you are? and everything that, like, so all that energy is, like, to whatever degree you value it, to whatever degree you don't value it, to whatever degree you just went like numb, like, will you uncreate and destroy all of that? Good, bad, right, wrong, all 9, pod, poc, shorts, boys, and beyonds. So what if the question every day in your world is like, universe, show me what is possible for me? Like if I was going to value me, what would that be? And one of the questions that I ask a lot, and it's so funny because when I forget to ask it, my life does this weird, like, and we're getting tiny and small and bleh, postage stamp life. Is what can I add? What can I be or do today to get like to have more of me right away? And you could also say what, you can change it, but it's like, what could you be or do today to have more of you right away? Like, what elements of energy can you add to your life? Like, and it can be anything. It could be going out for a walk in nature. It could be reading a book. It could be listening to music. It could be talking to another weirdo, It could be putting in to action an idea that you've had. So here's another place where all of us not normal creatures don't know we're not normal. Did you know that not everyone has creative ideas? Like us weird, creative, different people on the planet, we just think everybody, because I don't know about you guys, but like I'm constantly getting downloaded with different like ideas. Like I could do this could be creative, la 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 la. Like things talk to me all the time. Do you get that things don't talk to everybody all the time? So everything that doesn't allow you to actually get that that is a unique way you be here, will you uncreate and destroy it? Good, bad, right, wrong, all nine, pod, poc, shorts, boys and girls. And just because something is speaking to you doesn't necessarily mean other people can have it. Like you might like, how many of you have had an idea and you've been like, oh my God, blah, 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 and you're so excited about it. And you talk to somebody and they're just like, what is wrong with you? So again, like that's one of those places where if you're someone who's been that way your whole life, and that is the response that you have met every single time or most times, have you allowed that to suppress your excitement for what you know is possible? And everything that, so would you be willing to know that it had nothing to do with you? It had everything to do with what the people around you could receive. And one of the reasons I'm talking so much about, look, not only are you an odd duck, and you're only looking at like 5% of how weird you actually are, the assumption that other people are like you will always limit you. So even when you're swimming upstream and you find a pond of other people that have gotten upstream to that weird point, and you go, oh my God, weird people, these are my people, like they get it. That's awesome to actually have people along the journey to go like, I'm weird too. The thing that we actually, what needs to be added to that is like, yes, we're all weird. Now what? Now where are you going? Like, it's not to get into the pond and swim around with all the weird people and just be weird like everybody else is weird. It's okay, cool. We're all weird. We've all chosen this much weird up till now. Now what? Now what? And it has to be now what for you. So everything that completely like fritzed out your brain with all of that, will you uncreate and destroy everything that doesn't allow you to be, know, perceive, and receive the clarity you could have with who you are. And everything that doesn't allow that, Good, bad, right, wrong, all 9 pod, poc, shorts, boys, and beyonds. So asking how not normal am I actually that I've not acknowledged? Asking when you start to get the glimpses of it, going, okay, cool. And how can I take advantage of that? That's actually the question that is going to allow you to step into being these energies you're going to start uncovering of you that are so not normal. And then also being in the question of like never stopping, like, okay, that's awesome. And now what? And now what? Like, what if you were a constantly evolving like mutation of what else is possible in the future? What if 5 minutes from now, everything you are is different than what you were?
Cara, may I ask a question?
Yes.
My question is like, how to not use this not normal thing as the thing to create more borders with others, just to like, you know, when we sometimes using that as the way to say fuck you. So can you maybe just tell us a little bit more about it, please?
So that's the fish in the pond thing, right? So it's like you get to a place. So it's like, it's a fish in the pond thing. The other thing too that a lot of us have struggled with is that deep down, like, so have you always known how not normal you are? Yes or no? And have you, like, there's an energy that will come up where it's like you have to fight for your not normal, but then you also have to fight against your not normal. So everywhere you've been fighting for and fighting against all of your not normal, will you uncreate and destroy it all? Good, bad, right, wrong, all 9 pod, poc, shorts, boys, and beyonds. And one of the things for me that will like one of the ways that I have been not normal in my life is I tend to be like a trendsetter. Like I will do something 6 months before it's popular for everyone else to do. And it's always been like what Uliana is talking about, where it's like I would notice other people choosing it and be like, fuck, now I gotta like go be weirder again because I don't like people doing stuff like that. Like I don't want to be like, so everywhere you've been like ferociously being not normal and concluding that it's a that in order to keep your not normal, you have to stay separate. Will you uncreate and destroy it all? Good, bad, right, wrong, all 9 pod, poc, shorts, boys, bands, or do it on your, be a loner, do it yourself. Now it's like, it's also that leapfrog thing, right? So it's like, if like, instead of going into like, I was doing this really different thing and now everybody's doing it 6 months later, like now I got to go and be different in a different way. Like, what if you, when you choose that energy opposed to like, okay, cool, like, now what? Like, now what? What would I like to choose? Because that's actually where you're stepping into being a leader. And people are actually like choosing energies that you're presenting are available for people to choose. But instead of going like, I'm leading, meaning I'm in motion, I'm still going, we stop and go, wait a second, like, if they keep being like me, then I have to do the separation, put up barriers, do like all the more solid energies around it. So what if you could have what's not normal about you be the weather? Does the weather ever stay the same for 2 seconds? What if you're literally a not normal storm happening on this planet? Like, what could you actually create? So, yeah. So, when one of the elements that I'm just getting with this question from Uliana, so thank you, honey, is that like, what if really choosing the not normal you are is being in a constant state of motion, never, ever, ever stopping, never coming to conclusion of like, this is how I'm different. So everywhere you have all come to conclusions about the not normal you are, as if there isn't any more or any different or all of that, will you uncreate and destroy it all? Good, bad, right, wrong, all 9 pod, poc, shorts, boys, and beyonds. Oh, thanks, Enzo. Enzo says this call is relaxing him. That's awesome. Well, and what if that's like part of what not normal? Like the other thing too is like, how often have you like, because I think a lot of us, I'll use like school as an example, because that's something that everybody, most people have had the experience of being in school, being different. And when you're different in school, there is barriers that come with that. Like, I'm going to be different like this. And then we put the barriers up of like, this is going to be my always not normal. So all the barriers of this is my always not normal. Would you be willing to push all of those barriers down? Like, keep pushing them down even more. So with the barriers down, how much not normal is available to you now than it was before? Like a megaton. So how much fun can you have, and like curiosity and play can you have with how not normal are you? And the minute you come to any sort of conclusion, pod poc the conclusion, like, okay, so everywhere I've decided this is the top not normal I can achieve. What if you could go a little bit left and, 90 degrees, like what if you could just shift slightly your perspective and go in a different direction for a while? And then when you get to where you think you've reached the pinnacle, shift again. Like, what if you literally could be the weather and have your not normal be something that shifts, changes, ebbs and flows? You choose more, it spaces out, you have more expansion, and then there's something else is available, and then you choose that, and then there's more there. And like, what if it could just be a constant exploration of who you be? So one of the other tools that I want to, gosh, we've been on here for 40 minutes already. So funny. I could talk about not being normal. One of the other tools I wanted to give you guys in this exploration of not normal, for sure, is 2 questions that literally have saved my sanity, probably, maybe life, but sanity for sure, is what's right about this I'm not getting, and what's right about me I'm not getting. And anytime you reach like a sticky situation, like whether it be with someone else, whether it be with something you're creating, whether it be with like your own, it could be with your body, it could be with your own, like just feeling stuck in your life, like any circumstance, what is going to allow you to get out of the stuck conclusionary energy of like, this is what it is. What's right about me, I'm not getting. What's right about my body, I'm not getting. And if it's an actual circumstance or event, what's right about this I'm not getting. And what that will do is it will start to allow the energy to be like more, it'll just start to shift it and change it. So you actually can start to see what's going on outside of your conclusion of what you've decided is going on, or where you've just, most often for us, it's where we've decided we're wrong in the scenario. Where we decided we fucked up, or we decided we made the wrong choice, or whatever we're doing. What's right about me, I'm not getting. What's right about this, I'm not getting. What's right about my body, I'm not getting. And that's also going to allow you to move into that first energy I was speaking to in the beginning of the call, where it's like, look, what have you not acknowledged or considered about you that is completely not normal? That if you did, would change everything for you. All those areas where you think you can't change shit, What if those are all not normal areas for you? The only reason you can't change them is because you decided you're fucking normal there. So, how weird and strange can you all be? And everything that doesn't allow that, will you uncreate and destroy it all? Good, bad, right, wrong, all nine, pod, poc, shorts, boys and beyonds. So we have a few more minutes. Does anyone have like quickie question about anything that I've been speaking to? Anyone?
I just want to thank you. It's been awesome. Like, I just love your calls. Thank you.
You're welcome. And as I said, like for me, my target is that all of the weirdos of the world, all the creators, all the misfits, all the people who never have fit in, actually know they have value. And not only that they have value, but that their greatness is required here. Like, do you guys all get that this isn't like a dry run or a show before the show? Like, there's something that you know, there's something you're capable of, there's an ability, there's a talent, there's a perspective that you have that if you don't choose it, it won't exist here. And if you're not normal, doesn't exist here, go out 50 years. Look at the planet. Is it greater or is it less great? Go out 100 years. And everywhere you think that that's a conceited perspective or point of view, that you actually would consider that your unique energetic contribution here is not that valuable, that you actually choosing more, you actually being as weird and not normal as you are, wouldn't actually create a difference 50 years to 100 years to 1,000 years from now here. Will you uncreate and destroy everything that doesn't allow you to begin to perceive, know, be, and receive what and who you actually are? And everything that doesn't allow that, will you uncreate and destroy it all? Good, bad, right, wrong. All nine, pod, poc, shorts, boys and beyonds. Oh my gosh. Well, this was like very fun for me. I'm so grateful you chose to come on and have this conversation with me. Like I said, like I welcome, please go kick ass in the world. Don't take names, don't take numbers, just, you know, it's like, what if we all did choose something different and to be the not normal we are and actually started showing up in the world like that? Like what would it create? So thank you for being here. And I do want to say that I have a call coming up. I think it's in 2 weeks. It's a 3-part call. It's probably going to go into a little bit more of this. It'll be a very similar energy. It's called Creature. I just wonder if we all started to be the creatures we actually are, what could we create? What could we choose? What could we change? So if that's interesting to you, you can go to my website and just get information about it and register there. I'll send it out in the follow-up email as well. But again, thank you all for coming on, and we will see you in the future.